When Grange Hill first appeared on British television, it broke with decades of how childhood and school life had been portrayed on screen. Instead of comfort and morality tales, it showed school as many children actually experienced it. Fact 1.
So don't forget, I read out the number of the form first, and then the names of the pupils in each form.
Grange Hill was created by Phil Redmond with the intention of portraying school life realistically rather than idealistically. British children's television in the 1970s largely avoided serious social issues. Redmond believed this approach underestimated young audiences. He wanted to reflect real problems faced by pupils in inner-city schools. The series was conceived during a period of social and economic change in Britain. Education was becoming a site of political and cultural debate. Schools were increasingly seen as mirrors of wider society. Redmond drew inspiration from real classrooms rather than fictional traditions. Teachers were not written as moral authorities by default. Pupils were not divided into simple heroes and troublemakers. Authority figures could be flawed or overwhelmed. Misbehavior was shown as a product of environment and pressure. This philosophy shaped every aspect of the series. Early scripts avoided tidy resolutions. Problems often carried consequences beyond a single episode. The intention was to provoke discussion, not reassurance. From the start, the show challenged expectations of youth television. Childhood was presented as socially shaped rather than morally guided. Institutional pressure influenced both staff and pupils. This grounding defined the programme's long-term identity.
All because you wouldn't obey a few simple rules.
But why do we have to, sir?
That's a question of discipline. The school has a uniform, so you have to wear it.
Fact 2.
Right, let's think for a moment. What would be some of the other things needed in a large town? Now think about it.
Grange Hill presented school as noisy, chaotic, and emotionally complex. Classrooms were shown as crowded and under-resourced. Lessons were frequently interrupted or ineffective. Discipline was inconsistent rather than absolute. Bullying was depicted as persistent and systemic. Pupils were shown navigating peer pressure daily. Truancy was treated as a symptom, not a joke. Academic failure carried emotional weight. Teachers struggled to control behaviour. Authority was negotiated rather than assumed. The show avoided portraying school as a safe haven. Conflicts rarely ended cleanly. Punishments did not always solve problems. Some pupils fell further behind. Social background influenced opportunity. The realism unsettled some adult viewers. Children recognized their own experiences on screen. Familiar routines replaced dramatic set pieces. Everyday disruption became narratively significant. School life was shown as cumulative rather than episodic.
Yes.
Oh, it doesn't matter, sir.
Fact 3.
Come on, Mike, we're tired of waiting. You heard what happened today. We need to act, agreed?
Yeah.
Right, all those in favour of sitting in Janet's office.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Come on then.
The series became known for addressing subjects rarely shown in youth programming. Storylines included drug use among pupils. Bullying was portrayed as violent and psychologically damaging. Racism appeared as an everyday reality. Truancy led to criminal behaviour in some arcs. Family breakdown affected school performance. Alcohol misuse was explored through older students. Authority figures sometimes failed to intervene. These narratives sparked public debate. Parents questioned whether the content was appropriate. Some newspapers criticised the show's tone. Others praised its honesty. The storylines were based on real concerns reported in schools. Writers consulted educational advisors. Issues were contextualized rather than sensationalized. Consequences were shown over time. Characters were not protected from lasting impact. The controversy increased the show's visibility. Moral uncertainty was deliberately maintained. Resolution was often incomplete. This approach reinforced the programme's realism.
The idea of you going to collect Shaw was to enable him to be punctual, not that you should be late as well.
Fact 4.
I can assure you, young man, that I do not intend to let the matter rest there.
There will be a thorough investigation to find out who the culprits are.
Grange Hill relied heavily on child actors rather than adult stand-ins. Many performers had little prior acting experience. This contributed to a naturalistic tone. Dialogue sounded unscripted and immediate. Mistakes and awkwardness were retained. Accents were not standardized. Regional speech patterns were preserved. Children behaved unpredictably on screen. Emotional reactions felt unpolished. The casting reflected a broad social mix. Characters were not uniformly likable. Some pupils were deliberately challenging. Growth was uneven and realistic. Actors aged naturally within the series. Changes in appearance were not hidden. This continuity strengthened believability. Viewers watched characters mature over time. The approach increased emotional investment. Performance imperfections were accepted rather than corrected. Authenticity was prioritized over polish. This method influenced later youth casting.
I said the fire was small. It was. Thanks mainly to Garfield's vigilance.
Fact 5.
Look, I'm responsible for your son's education.
He is my son. This is my house. You're not responsible for anything.
Many parents reacted strongly to Grange Hill during its early years. Some feared it normalized bad behavior. Others worried it encouraged disobedience. Complaints focused on language and attitude. Drug-related storylines caused particular concern. The show disrupted expectations of children's television. Parents were unused to such frankness before the watershed. Discussions extended beyond the home. Schools debated the program's influence. Teachers reported mixed reactions from pupils. Some felt it opened useful conversations. Others felt it reflected poorly on education. The anxiety reflected generational divides. Children felt represented rather than lectured. Adults felt authority was being questioned. Media coverage amplified these fears. Despite criticism, viewership remained strong. The controversy cemented the show's reputation. Public concern became part of its identity. Debate contributed to its cultural presence.
No, mate. I've been looking forward to my medal for ages.
I wouldn't either, if I was playing, that is. I think the school uniform campaign is probably a good thing.
Fact 6.
Anybody who's put hard work and effort into their plays, projects, teamwork over the last couple of terms.
Grange Hill portrayed teachers as varied individuals rather than authority symbols. Some were committed and empathetic. Others were exhausted or ineffective. Teaching was shown as emotionally demanding work. Staff faced overcrowded classrooms and limited resources. Discipline relied on negotiation rather than fear. Teachers disagreed among themselves. Authority was often undermined by institutional pressure. Personal lives occasionally affected professional judgment. Mistakes had consequences for pupils. The show avoided idealizing the profession. Sympathy was balanced with criticism. Teachers struggled to reach every child. Successes were often small and temporary. Failure was treated as systemic rather than personal. This portrayal angered some viewers. Others welcomed its honesty. It reflected real pressures within British education. Teachers were shown adapting rather than controlling. Their authority depended on circumstance. This complexity challenged traditional depictions.
Right. Outside the lot of you, move. I said move!
Fact 7.
That is no concern of yours. And if I have any more of your insolence, you won't be able to sit anywhere.
The series evolved alongside changing British society. Economic hardship increasingly shaped pupil behaviour. Immigration and multiculturalism became visible themes. Racism was depicted as both overt and subtle. Gender roles shifted over time. Female characters gained narrative agency. Authority was questioned more openly. Youth culture influenced language and fashion. Music and slang reflected contemporary trends. Class divisions became more pronounced. Aspirations differed sharply between pupils. Education was shown as unevenly accessible. Social mobility felt uncertain. The school reflected its surrounding community. National debates filtered into storylines. The show documented change rather than commenting on it. This responsiveness kept it culturally relevant. Social issues emerged gradually rather than abruptly. Change was embedded into everyday school life. The series functioned as a social record. Fact 8.
I don't think we should. What? Keep watching the bike sheds.
We don't need to, they didn't come yesterday.
Grange Hill benefited from its long-running structure. Characters were introduced young and developed over years. Viewers witnessed gradual change rather than sudden transformation. Poor decisions accumulated consequences. Behaviour patterns became established. Growth was inconsistent and realistic. Some pupils improved, others did not. Storylines overlapped across academic years. The school environment remained constant. Cast turnover reflected real school life. New pupils replaced those who left. This prevented narrative stagnation. Long-term arcs rewarded loyal viewers. Emotional investment deepened over time. Few youth dramas sustain this approach. The format allowed complexity to emerge naturally. It strengthened the show's credibility. Time became a narrative tool. Memory shaped character behaviour. Continuity reinforced realism.
Which country has won the Jules Rimet trophy outright? I'm going to have to hurry you. Yes. Was it Brazil? That's right, it was of course the World Cup.
Fact 9.
Just a minute. Who gave you that?
My dad, sir.
The programme regularly generated media discussion. Newspapers debated its influence on children. Politicians occasionally referenced it. Educational commentators analysed its themes. Some accused it of pessimism. Others defended its realism. The show became shorthand for school problems. Headlines focused on controversial episodes. Moral panic sometimes followed key storylines. Viewer letters expressed concern and support. The debate reflected broader anxiety about youth behaviour. Television was blamed for social change. The creators resisted simplifying content. They argued representation was not endorsement. Public discussion increased visibility. The series became culturally unavoidable. Its reputation extended beyond its time slot. Debate became part of its identity. Controversy sustained public attention. Media response shaped its legacy.
May I ask why?
Got my bike nicked, sir.
Go on.
Fact 10.
What's going on?
Somebody put this down my neck.
Why is it so funny? What is the joke?
Grange Hill reshaped expectations of youth television drama. Later series adopted its realism. Social issues became acceptable subjects. Child characters gained narrative depth. Writers trusted younger audiences more. The show influenced casting practices. Naturalistic performances became valued. Schools were no longer idealized settings. Authority figures grew more complex. Youth perspectives were foregrounded. Educational drama gained legitimacy. The series became a reference point. It is still cited in media studies. Its themes remain relevant. School continues to mirror society. Few programs matched its longevity and impact. Its influence lies in honesty rather than shock. Grange Hill changed what children's TV could be. Its methods informed future storytelling. Realism became a benchmark. Its impact extended beyond its genre.
Who was it wanted me? Me, miss. Well, nice scarf, miss.
Disturbed my lunch hour just to tell me that?
No, miss.
Fact 11.
Trixie, will you get up? Your work. You girls are really being very, very silly today.
Grange Hill treated young people as individuals rather than symbols. Pupils were shaped by background, not moral categories. Identity was shown as fluid and uncertain. Characters experimented with behaviour and image. Peer approval carried significant weight. Reputation affected daily survival at school. Mistakes were public and long-lasting. Labels were difficult to escape. Some pupils embraced troublemaker identities, others struggled against imposed expectations. Authority figures sometimes reinforced these labels. The show avoided defining characters too early. Change occurred gradually and unevenly. Youth was portrayed as a process, not a phase. Emotional confusion was normalized. Confidence often masked insecurity. This approach respected adolescent complexity. Identity was shaped through interaction rather than instruction. Social pressure influenced self-perception. Growth was neither linear nor guaranteed.
There's someone downstairs to see you.
She's here. I can't see her.
Fact 12.
But once you've lost control, it's very difficult to get it back again.
Yes, Margaret, I've been teaching long enough to know that.
Discipline in Grange Hill was presented as inconsistent and contested. Rules existed but were unevenly enforced. Punishments varied depending on circumstances. Authority relied on cooperation rather than fear. Detention did not guarantee behavioural change. Exclusion carried serious consequences. Power shifted between staff and pupils. Group dynamics influenced discipline outcomes. Popular pupils were treated differently. Marginalised students faced harsher scrutiny. Institutional limits were clearly shown. Teachers lacked absolute control. Discipline failures were systemic. The show resisted simple blame. Authority was portrayed as fragile. Order required constant effort. This realism challenged traditional school narratives. Control depended on relationships rather than rules. Compliance was temporary rather than permanent. Power was negotiated daily.
I know, but there's too much of the wrong sort of thing going on recently.
Is there?
Well, take this stupid business with that boy, babe.
Fact 13.
Dean Holdsworth, Stan Collymore,
Yes.
Bill Babb,
Yes.
Trevor Sinclair, Jamie Redknapp.
Yeah, David James. Can't do it.
The series addressed race as an everyday reality. Minority pupils were integrated into storylines. Racism appeared in casual language and behaviour. Prejudice was not isolated to villains. Institutional bias was implied rather than stated. Characters experienced discrimination differently. Cultural background influenced school experience. Conflicts emerged from misunderstanding and hostility. Teachers sometimes failed to intervene effectively. Racist incidents carried emotional weight. The show avoided tokenism. Minority characters were fully developed. Their stories were not issue-only narratives. Representation reflected urban Britain. These portrayals prompted discussion. Few youth shows addressed race so directly. The series contributed to broader awareness. Racism was shown as persistent rather than exceptional. Silence often compounded harm. The approach encouraged recognition rather than resolution.
Going in to rescue her?
No. She doesn't need rescuing.
Fact 14.
My mum was furious on the phone when I told her what had happened. I hope she doesn't get stopped for speeding on the way here. Are you all right, Lauren?
Actions in Grange Hill had emotional fallout. Embarrassment lingered beyond episodes, shame influenced future behaviour, fear affected concentration and attendance. Humiliation shaped peer relationships. Trauma was not resolved quickly. Characters carried emotional memory. Silence often followed distress. Support systems were unreliable. Friendship could fail under pressure. Emotional neglect was visible. Teachers were sometimes unaware. Parents were often absent or overwhelmed. The series avoided melodrama. Pain was shown quietly. Recovery was gradual. This restraint deepened impact. Emotional damage shaped long-term behaviour. Coping mechanisms were often unhealthy. Consequences accumulated rather than disappeared.
By the way, how are things at home?
Oh, they're a bit better.
I think it's really good that you decided to become a counsellor.
Wow.
But I was a bit surprised.
Fact 15.
Today I want to make a start on discovering what sort of creative minds you have. Open that cupboard for me, will you?
Karen, stand.
And put everything out, please.
Yes.
Grange Hill occupies a permanent place in British cultural memory. Its name became shorthand for tough schooling. Former pupils became household names. The series documented generational change. It captured shifts in youth culture. Fashion and language reflected their eras. Viewers aged alongside the programme. It became intergenerational television. Parents and children watched differently. The show influenced public perception of schools. It shaped expectations of youth drama. Later series referenced its tone. Its honesty defined its reputation. Nostalgia is secondary to recognition. The issues it raised persist. Few shows achieved similar cultural reach. Its legacy is grounded in realism. It remains a point of comparison. educational drama was permanently altered. Cultural relevance sustained its reputation.